Hello, my dear friends. Today, the poem I have with me is A Consolation, written by William Shakespeare. As we all know, Shakespeare needs no introduction, and he was one of the greatest dramatists of Elizabethan era. But here the poem we have is one of his sonnets because Shakespeare had written 154 sonnets altogether. That was a total sonnet sequence of 154 sonnets. Now, in this sonnet, which is titled A Consolation, it is dedicated to his beloved or the dark lady. It is generally said that the sonnets are the key with which Shakespeare unlocked his heart. His sonnets are generally dedicated to the dark lady and a person named W.H., which is considered to be William Herbert. So, here in this poetry, we are going to see how Shakespeare devotes the song to the beloved or the dark lady. So, let's move on to the poetry. So, here is the poetry which we have in front of us. A sonnet is generally written in 14 lines, and this is one of the English sonnets or Shakespearean sonnets, because you see the Italian model of sonnet which was brought to England by Wotton Surrey was in the form of octave and sestet, which is also called the Petrarchian form. But Shakespeare reinvented it, and here you see there are three stanzas of 4 lines each, and the last one is a rhyming couplet. So, this was the Shakespearean model or the English model in which the poetry has been written. So, we have seen the structure of the poetry, that is, it is divided into 3 stanzas of 4 lines each and a rhyming couplet. Now, let's see the rhyme scheme of the poetry. You see, the first line, eyes, is rhyming with the third line, cries, and the second line, state, is rhyming with fate, and sequentially you see all the other stanzas are following the same pattern: hope and scope, possessed and lest, despising and arising, state and gate, and obviously the last rhyming couplet, that is brings and kings. So we can say the rhyme scheme is A B A B C D C D E F E F and G G. So this was the English model which follows the rhyme scheme of A B C D C D E F and G G. Okay, so we start the poetry line by line analysis of the poem. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate. So, in this first stanza, the poet is distressed and he is beweeping, he is weeping on his condition, which is the loss of fortune because he is disgraced by fortune, and obviously he is not considered worthy in people's eyes. So, in front of the eyes of various people, men, and because of the disgrace of fortune, he is in a very desolated condition, he is in outcast state, and he is beweeping his condition. So, this is a condition where the poet feels himself to be neglected or desolate, and he says that he cries towards heaven, towards God for help, but his cries are met with a deaf heaven. The gods are also not replying back or listening to his prayers, and he is cursed upon by the fate. So he looks upon himself and curses his fate. So this is the first stanza which talks about the distressed condition of the poet. Now we move to the second stanza. wishing me liked one more rich in hope, featured like him, with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least. So here the poet is looking at various people around him, some who are rich, some who have good features, who is physically attractive, some who have friends, some who knows the art, maybe fine art, poetry, some kind of skill, and some people who have scope in life. So everyone is having something or the other. Someone is rich, someone is having friends, someone is good looking. But when he sees himself, he sees that he is not having any of these qualities. So that's why he is not contented. And only thing that contents him is that if he could get or possess what these people around him have. Yet in those thoughts, myself almost despising, haply and think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. So only one thing which brings happiness to his mind is when the poet thinks of thee, that is the beloved, you. So in Roman English, thee is considered to be you, and he thinks about the beloved, the love of the beloved, and then he says that all his thoughts about despising himself are gone when he thinks about the lady, the dark lady. And then my state, when he compares his state, he sees that every lark, skylark, when it sings as the day arises, as the day takes the form of a dawn, it moves from the earth to heaven's gate, singing hymns. So, in the same way, the poet sings hymns, the poet is exalted, he feels that from earth he is rising up to the heaven, just like the night is being overshadowed by the dawn. So, he can see now finally sunlight, he can see now finally some kind of hope in his life, and that of hope is only because of the beloved. And when that comes to his mind, what happens? For thy sweet love remembered, such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. So when he considers his love, when he considers the love of his beloved, which he has in front of him, he feels that now, even if a king comes and wants to change the fate with the poet, he would not consider the clause, or he would not accept the proposal, he would not accept any wealth, even the wealth of a king, because what wealth he possessed is possessing is the best of all, and he feels that that is the only consolation he has. He's not good at wealth, he's not having good features, he's not having nice friends, but he's not good at arts, but what he has is the love of the beloved. And when he thinks of that, his heart is full of consolation, and he feels that even a king, when offers his kingdom to him and would like to exchange his fate with the poet's fate, poet is not going to exchange his life. So that is the strong bonding between the two, that is the love of the beloved, which Shakespeare praises and finally finds solace into. So that was all about this poetry. Thank you.